Welcome to a Live with Amanda. Today, we're going to be talking about what to do if your private practice is in a financial bad spot. And so this does happen. If you're in Facebook groups or you follow people on social media, you might think everybody has this six-figure or multi-six-figure practice. It's all private pay and everybody's making so much money. And the reality is that most people that share in Facebook groups are the people who are doing that because they're most comfortable sharing that. Who wouldn't want to share that? Who wouldn't want to say, hey, I'm doing amazing. Look at how great it is. Not a lot of people are vulnerable enough to open up and say, like, I'm really struggling with my private practice. And a lot of people struggle with private practice. Believe me, we get phone calls, we get consulting clients, we get people in our Facebook group, My Private Practice Collective, who share about that. So if you're struggling financially, know that you're not alone, but there are strategies that you need to take in order to get your private practice where you need it to be. If you are really, really struggling financially, I want you to really think about getting a per diem or a part-time job or a side gig that will help you start to bring money in right away. There are a lot of treatment centers, other group practices that will hire you pretty much immediately and you can start working. Treatment centers, like whether you love it or hate it, can be a quick, easy way to get 10, 20 hours of paid time right away. And so I think about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like if I tell you to go spend money on marketing and go to network and go and do all of these things to build up your private practice, you might not even feel good enough or safe enough to do that. And so one option is to get something right away to help you. It's very common that people have two gigs, like, right? Like they have their private practice and they have a side gig. They might speak somewhere. I've even seen people do teaching on the side. I'm trying to think of things like people running groups places or just literally working at a treatment center. And so don't feel any shame in that. Again, it's very common. I see a lot of people have a private practice and work somewhere else for that safety. I totally get it. You get a paycheck, you get money. You don't have to necessarily worry about where your clients are coming from because they're already built in. If you really want to stick with private practice, then you need a strategy to bring in clients right away. A lot of the times that either takes time or money. You might not feel like you have money. So if you have time, go and network. Go drop off your business cards at doctor's office. Go to therapist networking events, right? Look at your Facebook groups. Look at your social media. Review your website. Are you ranking, right? Write some blog posts if you're not ranking on specific keywords that you want to start ranking for. If you do have access to some money, some way, somehow, right? Think about putting an AdWords campaign together and driving referrals to you right away. You need referrals. That's what you need. So look at where your past referrals came from and duplicate that. If you get a lot of referrals from colleagues, let your colleagues know. Reach out to larger group practices. That can be a really great way to get referrals. A lot of larger group practices are pretty full. I know my group practice is pretty full. And sometimes we need to send people other places and we just kind of send to the same people. But think about going to larger group practices and letting them know you have availability and you have space open. Open up your space, open up your availability. If you've only been working daytime, look at working evenings, open up your Saturdays, open up your time. Don't panic, right? But think about when clients can come and think about how you can accommodate people. If you have a list of people who have seen you in the past and you haven't seen them in a while, email them, let them know you have spots open. That's that's already a built-in strategy right there. You have maybe like 100, 200 lists of people that you can just reach out and say, hey, I've got a spot open. Do you want a tune-up session? Do you want to come in? You can book people right away. You have to really get creative on how you're going to drive people to your private practice. I want to talk about how to plan for this and how to best prepare for this. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, TherapyNotes. If you're looking for an electronic health record that's really full service, one that can help you understand your business, understand what kind of revenue you have coming in, understand how many sessions you have in a month, understand if you do bill insurance, how much is outstanding, I want you to check out TherapyNotes. That's what I love about it. I run so many reports every month. I review all of these great things, all these great functions, and it really helps me understand where the business is at. So I definitely want to recommend TherapyNotes. They're a free telehealth option. They have a client portal. You can send client reminders, and they have great customer service. I actually had to call them last week. It was so simple, so great, so helpful. So thank you to TherapyNotes. So if your practice is in financial trouble, maybe you've been taking too much money out of your practice. That happens a lot. I work with a lot of practice owners where they're taking like 70, 80, 90% of the money out of their practice and they don't have enough money for expenses and they don't have enough money for taxes. They don't have enough money for a rainy day. So a really great place to start is Profit First, where you pay yourself 50%, you set aside 30% for expenses. Expenses happen, 15% for taxes and 5% for profit. And even if something like you don't need 30% for expenses, maybe you have a virtual only practice, maybe if you only need 20%, that 10% can go in a buffer account, a savings account. But I would really say to plan your expenses around that. I think a lot of people are really surprised when I share that yes, like at no matter what level, you need to make sure you're planning for only about 50% take home. And that can really help give you a realistic idea of how much money that you're going to be making in your private practice. And that if you have a set number, if you need to take home $10,000, then you need to be grossing $20,000 in your practice in order to really hit that mark. And again, if you don't have any office space, you have low expenses, sure, but it might be a little bit harder to gross higher. So it's a numbers game. I also just wanted to say, again, you are not alone. A lot of people go through financial struggles when it comes to private practice. And usually the goal is to increase the number of calls that you're getting, increase the number of clients so that you can really start seeing how many you need to see to make the revenue you need to make. I wish you the best of luck. I'll see you soon, everybody. Bye.